All right, let's get you the latest at this point of time on Subrata Roy. The Chief Judicial Magistrate has reserved the order on Subrata Roy's plea. That's the latest that we're breaking. The picture that you have on your television screen, the first pictures of Subrata Roy making his way inside the court. What we do know, 10 minutes after that, the Chief Judicial Magistrate has reserved the order on Subrata Roy's plea and has asked the media to leave the courtroom. Amir Haq is on the phone line with us. He's going to talk us through this breaking news. Amir, over to you.
Well, Preeti, this evening when Subrata Roy, Sahara and the police team escorting him arrived here at the CJM court, the police, quite opposite to what was being perceived earlier, because everybody here thought, and everybody who knew the legal procedures here, they thought that the police would move an application for a transit remand for Subrata Roy, Sahara, to be taken to Delhi to be presented before the Supreme Court. But here what happened is that the police has moved an application to seek police custody for 4 days for Subrata Roy, Sahara before they can make him appear before the
break it down for our viewers, Amir, at this point of time. What does this mean that the CJM has reserved the order tonight? Where is Subrata Roy? Does he go back home? Does he spend the night in custody?
Well, it still remains to be seen, Preeti, because the CJM has not written his order as yet. Although we are hearing some commotion around the CJM court, but they still haven't come out. The police team escorting him hasn't come out at the moment. Till the time they come out and their lawyers speak to the media, we don't get to know what exactly happened inside the courtroom. But yes, definitely, we know the intentions of the UP police. They want to seek his remand for 4 days. So that they can perhaps keep him cozy and he doesn't get to go to jail into judicial custody, which would have happened otherwise logically had they sought his remand for 1 day for the transit remand.
It raises questions, Amir, doesn't it raise questions on the UP police?
Well, definitely, it does raise questions on the intentions of the UP police, because the senior lawyers that we spoke to tell us that in such cases, usually what happens is that the police wants to follow what has been told to them by the Supreme Court, and because of that, it will definitely seek a transit remand at the first instance and present him before the Supreme Court. Or if the Supreme Court is off for tomorrow, then they take him to the CJM and allow him to decide the future course of action, which logically would have been sending him to at least 3 days of judicial custody in a jail inside Delhi, and then he would have been presented before the Supreme Court.
Do stay on with us, Amir, at this point of time. I'm going to come right back to you on this bit of breaking news, but let's quickly listen in to what Subrata Roy's son said in a press conference during the day. Listen in.
24th Feb 14, towards late evening, Sahara Shiji is informed that the health and the condition of her mother, Shri Chabi Roy, aged 92 years, who has been unwell for some time and being attended and treated by Sahara Hospital in Lucknow, has suddenly deteriorated and the situation is critical. Sahara Shiji, being the eldest child of his mother and also being very attached to her, decided to go back to Lucknow immediately with a private charter to be with his ailing mother at the critical moment, as any son would have done, in order to fulfill his emotional duties and obligation towards his mother. After arriving in Lucknow and understanding his mother's fragile condition, Sahara Shiji decided to stay back in Lucknow to ensure proper support and care for his ailing mother. Having taken this decision absolutely on humanitarian grounds and emotional grounds, he was also conscious of the directions given by Supreme Court. Thereafter, he instructed the legal team to move an application to Honorable Supreme Court, immediately seeking an exemption for the hearing for that particular day. While the rest of the 3 directors were attended the proceeding, his inability to attend also was communicated in writing to our senior.
All right, breaking news coming in at this point of time. The latest that we are getting in Subrata Roy in police custody till March 4th. Talking us through this breaking news, Amir Haq on the phone line. Amir, get us up to speed.
Absolutely, Preeti. The CJM, Honorable CJM, has allowed police custody till the 4th of March. That means that Subrata Roy, Sahara does not go to the judicial custody in jail. We have with us Mr. Padman Kirti, who's a senior lawyer placed in Lucknow, who was in the courtroom when this order was being pronounced. I'll let him talk you through what happened in the court then.
Yes, sir. Can you talk us through what exactly transpired in that courtroom?
Yeah, in fact, the police officer had moved an application before the Chief Judicial Magistrate Lucknow to allow them to keep Mr. Subrata Roy under police custody till 4th, because the Honorable Supreme Court has required him to produce before the Supreme Court on 4th itself. So the court has allowed the application of the police to keep him in police custody. That means he will not go to jail. It is up to the discretion of the police to keep him in the custody and ensure his production before the Honorable Supreme Court on 4th March.
You know, sir, you've seen many of these cases earlier. Do you think it's a little strange that judicial custody was not awarded to Subrata Roy?
Because the judicial custody was not sought for. It was not requested by the police. The Supreme Court had ordered that Mr. Subrata Roy, the police should ensure that he should be produced before the Supreme Court on 4th of March through non-bailable warrant. So the police took him into custody through the non-bailable warrant, produced him before the court, and requested the court to allow his police custody till 4th of March.
What happens to Subrata Roy tonight, sir? It's now the transgression of the...
No, he will remain in police custody. It is up to the discretion of the police to keep him anywhere that they feel like.
So he can very well go home today, isn't it?
I just can't say that because it is up to the discretion of the police. He can be.
Appreciate you joining us, sir, with the latest details. Well, that was a senior lawyer who was in the courtroom when Subrata Roy's case came up for hearing. What we do know, the sticking points of that, Subrata Roy did plead before the court to be allowed to stay at home. The CJM then gave him... All right, let's listen in.
में रहेंगे और 4 तारीख को पुलिस उसको इंश्योर करेगी ऑनरेबल सुप्रीम कोर्ट के सामने उनको प्रोड्यूस किया जाए, तब तक वो पुलिस कस्टडी में पुलिस विवेक के ऊपर ही रहेंगे।
अब कहाँ पे पुलिस रख सकती है?
ये पुलिस का विवेक है, क्योंकि पुलिस ने अपनी अभिरक्षा मांगी थी, कोर्ट ने उसकी एप्लीकेशन अलाउ कर दी।
अच्छा, दिल्ली में कोर्ट में यूपी पुलिस लेके जाएगी या दिल्ली पुलिस को सपोर्ट किया जाएगा?
ये भी चूंकि पुलिस का विवेक है, वो पुलिस ने जो एप्लीकेशन दी है उसमें उन्होंने यही कहा। Thank you.
Well, there you have it, one of the lawyers there. But to give our viewers the latest on the bit of breaking news that we are getting in, Subrata Roy has been awarded 4 days of police custody, and that is till March 4th. The other point is whether or not Subrata Roy will spend the night in jail. Well, that is at the discretion of the Uttar Pradesh police. He can very well go home. The third point, the police did not seek for judicial custody. They asked for remand, they asked for police custody. What we do know is that now, from here on, it will be at the discretion of the Uttar Pradesh police whether or not Subrata Roy will be kept in custody in jail, or he could very well be just allowed to go home, and that's what he had pleaded before the courts, to be allowed to stay at home to take care of his ailing mother. The picture that you see is the first picture of Subrata Roy entering the court premises just about an hour ago. But just 20 minutes back, the CJM has announced his order. He has agreed to till March 4th. He's agreed to 4 days of police custody for Subrata Roy. Talking us through this breaking news, Amir Haq getting us the ringside view of all the developments taking place. Amir, any clarity? Where does Subrata Roy stay tonight?
Well, Preeti, the police team escorting Subrata Roy Sahara have just left the CJM court moments back. So we don't know where exactly they are headed to. But most probably, since the police has made their intentions clear, they don't want Subrata Roy Sahara to be sent to a jail, into a judicial custody, whether here in Lucknow or in Delhi. So therefore, we can infer that there's a very soft treatment that is being given to Subrata Roy Sahara.
That's the question I want to ask, Amir, because many questions now being raised at the intention of the Uttar Pradesh police. Yesterday, it had been laid threadbare that there really wasn't much intent to arrest him. As the developments have played out, and especially what transpired in court today, all fingers point to the Uttar Pradesh police trying to soft pedal this case.
Well, definitely, Preeti. Yesterday, we saw just 5 to 6 policemen, searching through a 375-acre estate and emerging out of the estate after 2.5 hours and telling all the media people gathered outside that we couldn't find him. We've searched the premises entirely, and we did speak to his family members. They tell us they don't know about his whereabouts. these are questions that have been raised by common people here, not just media. So therefore, and today what has happened is that the police comes to the CJM court armed with an application asking for police remand for 4 days for Subrata Roy Sahara to be taken to Supreme Court. Definitely, we can infer that Subrata Roy does not go to any jail, either here in Lucknow or in Delhi, and therefore he'll either be kept in a guest house or some place of his choice, therefore avoiding him any discomfort on this account.
Is there a possibility he could go home, because that's what he had pleaded before the courts, to be allowed to stay at home to take care of his ailing mother?
Well, the court did ask Subrata Roy Sahara whether he is happy with the demand made by the police, as in what does he make out of the police application being submitted here. Subrata Roy Sahara, as reportedly, people who saw him speaking in the courtroom said that I personally would prefer to stay with my mother at my home itself, but it is up to you. It is up to the Honorable Magistrate to decide whether he goes to jail or to his home or to some place else, wherever the police chooses him to keep.
Amir, we've all covered many of these cases. Is it a little strange that judicial custody was not even sought?
Well, definitely, this is one case of its kind, because in usual judicial parlance, what we've known through our experience is that in such cases where especially the highest court of the country has issued a non-bailable warrant against somebody, the police usually does not take any chances. It would have in regular course, as has been told by other very senior lawyers based here in Lucknow also, that the police would have taken 1 day transit remand for Subrata Roy Sahara and could have produced him at a CJM court in Delhi itself tomorrow. And perhaps logically in that sequence, he would have then had to go to judicial custody in a jail for the next 3 days before he appeared before the Supreme Court. So definitely this stands out. This one case stands out, and it really shows and raises questions on the intentions of the UP government as well as the UP police, because the UP police directly works under the UP government.
Mm-hmm.
So why is it that they are providing a comfortable, cozy next 3 days before he appears to the Supreme Court, when in a regular sense he could have spent 3 nights in a jail?
Amir, who produces him in Delhi at the Supreme Court? Is it going to be the Uttar Pradesh police or will it be the Delhi police?
Well, Preeti, as far as the legal sequence events would have gone otherwise, it would have been the UP police which would have taken a transit remand for him from here and produced him to a competent judicial officer in Delhi. Then it was up to that judicial officer to decide whether he goes to the jail or he is to be produced before the Supreme Court. So once he was in jail, then it could have become the responsibility of the Delhi police to take him in from there and produce him before the Supreme Court. But since now the application moved by the UP police has been accepted by the Chief Judicial Magistrate here, he stays with UP police for the next 4 days and appears in custody of UP police before the Supreme Court on the 4th of March.
All right, do stay on with us. That's the latest bit of breaking news that we're getting in at this point of time. All right, we have Mr. Majid Memon on the phone line with us, noted lawyer, talking us through this bit of breaking news and the legalities of what has taken place in that court. Mr. Memon, if you've been attuned to what exactly transpired in that court, judicial custody was not even sought. Subrata Roy has been given police custody, will appear now in Supreme Court on the March 4th. The question I ask you, sir, is it unusual that judicial custody in a case like this not being sought at all?
You see, the question here is that what is the application of the producing police agency? The policemen have put up a remand application. Why did they pray for police custody? Because is he required to be interrogated in furtherance of some investigation so that his bodily presence is required to the investigating officer? That's the question. Now it appears, as far as the whole nation knows, that in the present situation, this man had to be taken in custody in consequence to the issuance of a non-bailable warrant by the court, when the court expressed its anguish for his non-appearance and defaults. Now, in such a situation, he simply has to rest. He is to be just kept in custody, confined till the hour occurs, that is on the 4th morning, when he is scheduled to be placed before the Honorable Supreme Court, and the Honorable Supreme Court would thereafter decide his fate.
So, Mr. Memon, basically, there was no need for him to be awarded judicial custody for these 3 days.
Well, whether he's awarded judicial custody or police custody would matter less, because all that happens is if you are awarded judicial custody, you are removed to jail,
Yes.
prison, and if you are awarded police custody, you remain in police station lockup. So that's the only distinction in the instant case. Now, whatever order has been passed by the Chief Judicial Magistrate, the Chief Judicial Magistrate must have taken note of the fact that he is to be taken care of till he is produced before Supreme Court. There are a few rights of the arrested person which certainly do operate, even in case of Sahara, that his bodily safety is to be ensured. He is not to be subjected to third degree. He is not to be treated with any kind of ill treatment of any kind. And if he is unwell, he could be attended by doctors or several other provisions are there in law. But then he is a state guest. The 4th morning, when his fate would be decided by next order of the same court of the same bench of the Supreme Court.
Mr. Majid Memon, appreciate senior lawyer for joining us at this point of time, giving us perspective on this little bit of breaking news that we're tracking very closely right here on Headlines today. The latest developments that we can tell our viewers at this point of time. Number one, Subrata Roy has been awarded police custody. He will appear now in Supreme Court on the 4th of March. Let's cut across at this point of time. Amir Haq, who's been tracking all developments on the story, is on the phone line with us. Amir, any word in on where Subrata Roy will be kept tonight?
Well, no word from the state police as yet, Preeti, on where exactly they are headed to. As Majid Memon rightly said just now, that it is up to the discretion of the police to place him wherever they deem it fit for him, because there could be medical reasons that must have been cited in the court. Because we were privy to the fact that some senior doctors from Sahara Hospital, being run by the Sahara Group itself, went to the Sahara city area right before Sahara Shri. In fact, Subrata Roy was taken from Sahara city towards the CJM court. So there could be some medical reasons that must have been cited by his lawyers there in the court, because of which perhaps the police will not keep him in a lockup. But it is still to be seen on whether the police is headed towards Sahara city or back to his home, so that he can stay in police custody and tend to his ailing mother, or they put him elsewhere in a guest house or some other place of his comfort.
Well, appreciate you joining us. Amir Haq, tracking all developments in the next 10-15 minutes. It would be clear whether or not Subrata Roy will go back home or not, or will spend the night in custody. We'll get you the latest on that.